Around 1 a.m. Eastern this morning, a U-Haul vehicle attempted to reverse at high speed into several law enforcement officers outside of the Coast Guard in Alameda, California. Law enforcement took position and unloaded their firearms into this vehicle. It appears this was some kind of attack related to anti-ICE protests happening in California, and it comes just after we heard that ICE will be canceling operations in San Francisco after intervention from big tech, let's just call it wealthy individuals, as well as several politicians. Now, initially, when this video dropped, we didn't know exactly what was happening, but KTVU Fox has the breakdown of how this all went down. In this video, you can see several law enforcement officers, weapons pointed. They did not just shoot their guns. This was not just gunfire, ladies and gentlemen. This is intense. I'm going to play the video for you. Now, when I first saw the video, open source intel says law enforcement opened fire at a driver backing U-Haul truck into the line of police outside the Coast Guard base in Alameda. We have this story from ABC News. Shots fired after vehicle driving erratically attempts to back into Coast Guard base. Now, initially, this reporting that people were putting out, people didn't know. I didn't know exactly what this was. What's going on? Is it political? Is it not political? But KTVU has the breakdown. This was following an anti-ICE protest outside the facility where ICE was being stationed. It appears this may have been an attempted terror attack thwarted. I'll play the video for you. Check this out. Here you can see the U-Haul starts to pull forward. Law enforcement taking position. The U-Haul is about to reverse at high speed. The U-Haul's now speeding off. It seemed pretty obvious watching that video that this is some kind of protest. It makes no sense as to why these news crews, these people are there, why the truck is there, and you can hear music, you can hear shouting. ABC's reporting is absolutely pathetic. The FBI is leading the investigation. Well, KTVU has the details for us from Fox 2, KTVU, live updates. Gunfire rings out at the end of Bay Area immigration protest, and it's massive. This article is absolutely massive. We can see here, Coast Guard police remove rocks that protesters put at the entrance of the Coast Guard. That's why there's dumpsters. Let me go back to this video. You can see, here's the U-Haul. There are dumpsters blocking the road into this Coast Guard base. I'm at a loss for words. I mean, this is absolutely insane, ladies and gentlemen, where we currently are at. Let me give you some of the details breaking down how we got to this point in California. Alameda. A team of federal agents from multiple agencies began arriving Thursday at Coast Guard Island in Alameda as part of Trump's continued crackdown on immigration across the U.S. No, illegal immigration. The U.S. protesters gathered outside the base holding signs and chanting for the agents to leave. Hours later, San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie and Trump announced that the planned federal immigration surge had been called off for San Francisco. Before the cancellation, a federal source who requested anonymity confirmed that roughly 100 U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents had been sent to the region to conduct an operation targeting pre-identified targets. Those locations might have included Home Depots around the Bay Area, as there are often undocumented immigrants there. Border Patrol is the law enforcement arm of CBP. Those plans were scrapped once the surge was paused. Trump and his admin have repeatedly threatened to send federal agents and National Guard troops into San Francisco and other cities, as the federal government has done in Los Angeles, Chicago, and Portland. We're going to go to San Francisco. The difference is I think they want us in San Francisco, Trump told Fox News. This is October 23rd. You can see here's the bridge to Coast Guard Island in Alameda. So this is where federal agents were being stationed to prepare for these raids. Law enforcement opened fire on a U-Haul truck on Coast Guard Island Thursday night. According to the Coast Guard, 2 people were struck by gunfire. The driver of the U-Haul and a bystander, according to a police source. The extent of their injuries was not made public. Video shows the driver of a U-Haul accelerating backwards from a line of armed law enforcement personnel. KTVU cameras caught what appeared to be several shots fired by law enforcement during the clash. The FBI is investigating. The majority of the protesters had gone home as earlier in the day, Trump had called off the immigration surge. 5:20 p.m., a separate group of protesters marched from Oakland's Fruitvale district to join about 100 to 150 demonstrators already gathered outside the entrance. Ladies and gentlemen, this is clear cut. This was a terror attack attempt. Low grade. I'm not here to make an argument that some guys were strapping themselves with bombs or anything like that. But this is very clearly a low grade terror attack on police, on federal law enforcement, on our Coast Guard, from protesters, from extremists in the Bay Area. 2 people have been shot. I can't believe it, guys. When I first saw this video, it looked like we didn't know exactly what was going on. And my first reaction was search the national news sources. And that's what I did. I pulled up ABC here. And they are not covering the story. And I think it's intentional. Shots fired. No one was injured. We don't know exactly what happened. Standing watch observed a vehicle driving erratically. ABC, in my opinion, is intentionally obfuscating what the actual story is. Because this is what I do. So when I pull up ABC, the first thing I thought was, wow, that's crazy. I wonder what happened. And of course, because we have the video from KTVU, I checked KTVU source, and they actually reported this truthfully, that this was a far left extremist event targeting federal law enforcement. Trump calls off the raids, and probably because the threat of terror, in my opinion. And then someone tried attacking these officers. I want to make this clear. Just because they didn't succeed does not mean this was anything other than, it doesn't mean it was not an attempt to murder these officers, or at the bare minimum, terrorize them. ICE facilities have been attacked. They shot them up with long guns. The intention, as explicitly stated by the man who did it when they found his notes, his manifesto, was he wanted ICE to fear a sniper could be on any rooftop when they walk out these buildings. This U-Haul truck is a terror attack. Speeding in reverse towards these officers is to strike fear. They want these officers to be on edge. Why? Let me show you again. It looks like some of these guys might be holding rifles. Someone's screaming. It sounds like that person who was screaming got shot. That's what I thought. Let's play that again. My God. So it sounds like one of these leftist extremists, 2 of them, in fact, the driver and a bystander, were shot. We don't know if the bystander is part of this leftist extremist group, whoever these people were, but it seems entirely possible. Now, I believe, again, showing you that video, the U-Haul vehicle wants these law enforcement guys, wants ICE, wants DHS to fear at any moment one of these vehicles might attack you. It puts them on edge. They are thinning the line of conflict. Every day I go outside. I don't think twice about people walking around. Do you? For the most part, not really. I think it's prudent to say you keep an eye on people. You always got a little bit there, especially if you're a guy. You know, the old meme was that there's a guy and a woman are walking. It's a funny viral video where a guy and a woman are walking through like a mall, and the guy is looking around. He's going, and the guy looking around, and you can hear his internal thoughts, and he's going, "All right, I got 2 exits to my front, exit behind me. Strange guy walking towards me. Let's make a little distance there." Thinking about safety and security. Then it cuts to the woman who's with him, and in her mind, she's going, "Making my way, da 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 ba ba," just not paying attention at all. It's a hilarious video. So for guys, you get it. You're walking down the street, you're not paranoid, but you got in the back of your mind, you're keeping an eye out, you're alert. Not all guys. This is the point. Since the assassination of Charlie Kirk and the escalation of death threats, I've had to heighten security, and now I'm actively watching and paying attention all the time. That is the point. Now, I'm not going to shoot anybody, right? I got security, I got bodyguards, and they're well-trained and all that stuff. These cops, ICE agents, law enforcement, Coast Guard, what the left is trying to do with this terror attack is make it so that on a normal day, these law enforcement guys are going to be like, it's a truck. We're not really worried about it. Trucks don't do anything. Cars don't do anything. But now they just tried to kill him. Now these cops might be thinking, at any point, someone in one of these vehicles might try to kill me, which reduces the time for them to draw their weapons, because now they're facing a legitimate threat from leftist terrorism. So they're going to be more quick to go for lethal force. And I'm not saying irrationally or irresponsibly, or I'm not saying that they're doing anything wrong. I'm saying we have seen many videos. There's one video I was watching the other day, and, you know, I got kind of pissed. There's it's a Ring camera. You've probably seen it. It's going viral. A guy is a police officer, and a Jeep tries to ram him and crash into a tree. The dude runs to his house, goes inside, grabs his weapon, and runs outside. The dude who tried ramming him is out of his vehicle now, and he's screaming at him, "Put your hands up, hands." This off-duty cop who nearly got murdered refrains from shooting this guy who tried to kill him and is still trying to kill him. The man gets back in the Jeep. The cop says something like, "I will pop you right here. I will pop you." But he doesn't. The man in the Jeep backs up. The cop stands there with his weapon aimed. The man in the Jeep then slams the gas forward, trying to murder the cop again, and hits him. The cop survived, escaped injury, and caught the guy. But I got to tell you, I was frustrated. The challenge, of course, is if this cop shot the guy in his vehicle, they would have argued the guy was no longer a threat. When the Jeep tries ramming the cop, he unloads and then gets hit. And therein lies the harsh reality. I was upset because I'm like, listen, to this cop and to the world, this man just tried to murder you and is trying now to gain access again to the vehicle for which he might kill again. And the cop, he did the right thing. He did. He did the right thing in restraint. He remained calm and collected in the face of an attempted murder, and he risked his own life because he did not want to kill somebody. And that's what I can't stand about all these leftists, these anti-cop people. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, not all cops are good guys. Seattle cops, Portland cops, they're commies. We can point that out. But I'm saying in these instances where you get these officer-involved shootings, these are not cops who are bloodthirsty. This guy, this video, you may have seen it again, risked his life because he did not want to use force. And that's what terrifies me. Because this guy was clearly trying to kill. Now you take a look at this story here. And the point is this. While that officer refrained from shooting because he wanted to minimize lethal force, he didn't want to kill somebody, even if it meant he would be killed. Now there's a problem there. The bad guys will kill again. In this instance, what the left is trying to do is that barrier where law enforcement says, I'm not really that worried and I don't want to use this weapon. It's being whittled away. So in this instance where that cop nearly gets murdered, what's going to happen? There are going to be many more instances where people aren't willing to wait to find out. And there's going to be cops who are like, look, I've seen the videos. They might try and ram you. I'd rather get fired, administrative investigation, maybe even some charges than be dead. And that's the reality for a lot of these officers. Now, this is political. This was a terror attack. This is getting absolutely out of hand. We're having a debate later today about Trump and no kings. And there's no easy way out. You come to me and say, Tim, you really want to see armored, camouflage federal agents with high-powered weapons marching through cities? I say, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But this is war. And they're going to say, no, it's not war, Tim. It's not war. I'm going to tell you this. I never said it was a civil war, but we are in a period of conflict and crisis. Call it civil strife, call it whatever you want. Democrats, leftists are engaging in acts of terrorism. Charlie Kirk is dead. They have aided and abetted criminal cartel members, drug dealers, traffickers, and all around general illegal immigrants. And they're doing more and more every day to do it, to expand their assistance of these people. They're trying to kill our law enforcement. And so do you think I'm happy about any of it? Absolutely not. Do you think I want these cops? I don't. But I'm asking these men to do it because We have to win. We have to win. They arrested Trump's lawyers. They don't care about democracy. They claim that Donald Trump is destroying the people's house by renovating the East Wing, by reconstructing it. They tore down our statues. They spat on George Washington and Frederick Douglass, Thomas Jefferson, Hans Christian Heg. They ripped these statues down and celebrated doing so. They have no morals other than they want you crushed. And Lord, help us, I cannot believe what we are seeing this morning. This is absolutely, absolutely terrifying. Now, I guess we'll find out more later. And I got to be honest. This appears, and I think any reasonable person would say, it appears like a terror attack. And I think you all agree, right? Comment. Let me know what you think. But I'm going to say this. Maybe it comes out that it was a random U-Haul driving by for no reason. Took a wrong turn. Doesn't matter. The reason why it doesn't matter, as I often say, despite those of great ignorance, Sam, not understanding this, I say the truth doesn't matter to partisans. The truth does not matter in this conflict. People will see this on the left and they'll think it's happening. Green light. People on the right will see this and say, no way. That was an attack on our law enforcement. That was an attack on a military base. So even if it turns out that the vehicle was pizza delivery guy took a wrong turn, no one will believe it. They're going to say, nice try. The media is going to try and downplay this. Now, I don't know. Maybe it really was a delivery guy took a wrong turn. I doubt it. You got a protest, you got dumpsters, and you back into guys with a bunch of rifles pointed at you? Yeah, I doubt it. This looks like terror. This looks like war. I fear that we are past the line. It is potentially at any moment that we will see something we would refer to as the First Battle of Chicago. Maybe Alameda. Abraham Lincoln in 1861, after the Battle of Fort Sumter, suspended habeas corpus to deploy troops along the rail line from Pennsylvania to D.C. Through this corridor, habeas corpus was suspended. He then had members of the Maryland legislature arrested for having sympathies with the South. Because if Maryland joined the Confederacy, the Union was done. So he arrested them so they could not. Maryland was a slave state. This was before anybody called it a civil war. It was before the first Battle of Bull Run. The first Battle of Bull Run, nobody believed it was a civil war, and you've heard me say it a million times. They picnicked. So Abraham Lincoln suspended habeas corpus, deployed troops, arrested politicians, threatened to arrest journalists, and this was before we were in a civil war. Now, of course, retroactively we say, well, Fort Sumter was the start of the Civil War. No one at the time thought so. No one at the time thought so. They did not think it was a civil war. And Abraham Lincoln was doing all this stuff. Man, you got me worried, I'll tell you that. I'll leave it there. Smash the like button, share the show, stay tuned. More to come, and we'll see you all in the next segment.